Now, here's what we call it. We over-exercise. Now, this is a loaded statement. Let me qualify this. If you look at the data from the Centers for Disease Control, they go out and do field research. And they attach these devices to people. It's called an accelerometer. It's kind of a complicated, sophisticated pedometer. It measures body movement. There's two ways that the CDC collects data. They do phone surveys. They call people, say, Rich, tell me about your exercise habits. They have those surveys. And then they go out to Dave's house and they say, Dave, wear this for 30 days. Now we're going to come back and take it off you, and we're going to measure your movement. Guess what happens when you look at the difference between the phone survey and the accelerometer data? Is there a difference?
Oh, yeah.
It's a gargantuan difference between the two. Yeah. So when we look at phone surveys, about 40% of Americans will report over the phone to a statistician from the Centers for Disease Control that, yes, I'm doing what I should do most of the time. And this is not because people are bad, but we tend to over-report good behaviors. We like to say that we do more of them than we actually do. So we over-report exercise. But when we look at people's actually body movements with these devices attached to them, we see that the number is drastically lower than what it is reported on the phone survey. In the most recent data that they've published, we find that for adults between 90 and 60 or so, or I'm sorry, 90, between 19 and 60, that only about 3 to 4% of adults are engaged in the minimum level of moderate activity most days of the week. Huge discrepancy from what people say versus what they actually do. So we have, it's no surprise in America, we have a population of people who are fairly sedentary. One scientist refers to America as a paradise of energy conservation. You never need to run, rarely do you need to walk, and you can often sit for long periods of time without ever moving your body. We literally are handcuffed to the couch. We drive to work, we walk a few feet, we sit down at the desk, we work, we get back in the car, we come home, we sit down, we sit on the couch. So opportunities to burn calories have been vaporized, have been taken out of our culture. I think I gave the example the other day about cutting the grass. This was before our time, but we used to have this blade called a sickle, and you would swing it and you would cut grass. And then the idea of putting the blade in between two wheels to push it came along, and that was a push mower, and that's what we had when I was growing up. And you did burn some calories, but it was more efficient than swinging a sickle. And then someone said, let's put an engine on top of that thing so that it'll turn the blades. And then I remember the advent of the self-propelled lawnmower. I was just stunned. I thought, this is unbelievable. I can just walk behind the lawnmower. Well, today, exactly right. Now we put a seat on top of it so we can drive it. Now we just pay the guy down the street $5 to drive our lawnmower. So we've gone from burning a lot of calories to less, to less, to less. So this is what's happened to physical activity in America. It's been engineered out of our life. There is almost no opportunity to move. That's right. Harvard University, they had a conference on cancer and physical activity. Believe it or not, they coined the phrase sedentary exerciser. Now, you might say, what is this? What's an inactive exerciser? How do those two go together? What they found is that there's people who will drive their car to the fitness center, get the front parking spot, take the escalator up to the fitness center, do their 20 to 30 minutes, come home, be essentially bedridden the rest of the week, do absolutely nothing. So we literally have had activity engineered out of our lives. The things that used to be normal are no more. So let's be clear. I'm not suggesting that America is over-exercising, but when we look at exercise, here's a little hiccup that we do see happening. People put almost all of their focus on exercise, and they avoid dealing with the more challenging component, which is their diet. So again, men are a little more guilty than women. Men love to get in and just burn calories off, and they go home and eat 16 cheeseburgers a night. When you look at exercise, does it play a role in weight loss? Without a doubt. We call it an impact player. It plays a role. But look at it this way. Look at it as a three-tabled leg. It doesn't matter how strong that one leg is. If it's missing two legs, that table will never stand. So you need all three. 2/3 of your success is your diet. About 1/3 is your physical activity. So we have to exercise, but we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket and rely too much on this one single behavior. When when you look at the numbers, the people, let's go back to that National Weight Control Registry. Those people report averaging about 2,600 calories a week burned off. So a little less than 400 calories a day on average, day to day. So when you look at that and you translate that into weight loss, it's about 2/3 of a pound a week. Now I'm going to suggest that even for most people who are really serious about losing weight, losing only 2/3 of a pound every week for 10 weeks straight isn't enough to reinforce them. Few people will stay with that. They'll eventually just give up. So you need to have some dietary changes in there to get a better result on the scale and complement that effort that you're getting into with physical activity. So here's the good news. The calories do count. They do add to the bottom line. Right? And so when you look at what's recommended, it does add up. I'll show you that in 2 seconds. And then there's synergy. We do find exercisers tend to make other good decisions. We've talked in the past about how activity changes brain chemistry. Now that I'm very aware of this data, it's amazing to me how if I go do a 30-minute walk, whatever it is, how I literally find my brain feeling and thinking differently because of the awareness around this issue. But we do see it changes brain chemistry, and people are exercising to make better decisions overall in their life, particularly with their diet. We see exercisers are more health-minded when they're buying foods and eating foods than inactive people. It makes sense. You know, you guys know the feeling. You go out, you do something productive. You don't say to yourself, well, now that we've exercised, let's eat a box of donuts. I mean, it could happen, but it's a little less likely to happen versus no exercise at all. You know, I mean, think about your life. When you're not active at all, when you're just off track for whatever reason, high-calorie food just finds you for some reason, and it works its way back into your life. So what we're recommending here is to burn at least 2,000 calories. You guys have heard that number before. 2,000 calories a week is really the imperative. We suggest it's about 285 calories a day, just average it out, but 2,000 a week, because yes, those calories translate to about 30 pounds a year. Just do the math, 200 times 52, 104,000 calories divided by a pound of fat. That's 30 pounds burned off in a year that wouldn't otherwise happen. And then, yes, strive to do something daily because of the connection between brain chemistry, that synergy piece of it, and we call it momentum. The more often you do it, the more routine it becomes, the more automatic it becomes, just like brushing your teeth. You don't think about it, you just do it because you know that that works and it's a part of your routine. Okay? Again, in the HMR book, you'll find a calorie per minute worksheet. What we'd like people to know is your calories per minute. Know how many calories per minute you burn. If you're going to go out and take a walk, Beverly, know that you're getting 5 calories a minute, 6 calories a minute, and you can calculate in 20 minutes, what did I burn? How close am I to that goal of 2,000? How many did I burn off today? I mean, I do bits and pieces all the time. I break it up. 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes there. Get that total up. It doesn't always have to be one block, but day to day to keep that synergy alive. And do you really have to do formal exercise every day? The answer is no, but as you begin to develop this habit and it becomes part of your routine, then it almost isn't quote-unquote structured exercise. It's part of what you do. I know Tom likes to cut the grass, and I would hazard to say, Tom, there aren't a ton of people in your neighborhood out cutting their grass on their own. They're probably paying the other guy down the street or the service to do it. So that's burning calories that in today's world doesn't happen for most people. You know, my brother's the same way. He talks about his neighbors. He does things, he works around the yard. They look at him like he's Hercules. He's just doing everyday normal things because nobody gets out in a yard and does anything these days. So it's so different than it used to be a couple decades ago. So, okay, so I've said a lot here. We're going to wrap things up.